Hey, Cynthia, how are you? Thank you for joining us. I know it sounds like we're talking crazy, but we're about to get started here in a minute.
Oh, oh my God, Corey.
There you go.
Dang. Okay, well, alrighty then.
There you go. That's what you needed to do.
I had no idea. Alrighty then. It's hilarious. All right.
Oh,
How
Lloyd
is
George.
everybody doing? Lloyd George.
Big
Hello.
Lloyd's
We
in the
know who
building.
you are.
Lloyd.
Lloyd's been out there making moves.
Making
Oh,
money moves.
he's also the founder of a podcast conference that's happening. I think it's happening in Charlotte again in September, the Empowered Podcast Conference. So you guys check them out, grab tickets, come to Charlotte, come to North Carolina, have a good time. It won't be humid and
KC.
sweaty in September.
I'm trying to see if I can make it out there for this year for that one. We'll see.
Welcome, Stephanie.
He said, wait, is this live?
Yes.
Yeah, Lloyd. Yeah.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
That's funny.
I think we should start introducing ourselves now. Let's get into it.
All right. I'll go first since nobody
Osney
sounds
says
excited
shoot.
different.
All right.
Hey everyone, my name is Angela. I am the writer of two newsletters. One is Please Hustle Responsibly, which is a community for creators who want to learn, connect, and grow their businesses. I'm also the writer of Melanin MVP, and this month is our 1 year anniversary. So tap into www.melaninmvp to check out our new website. It's like 95% done. So super excited about that. Super excited to continue telling stories about Black women's sports and athletes and all that fun stuff. So thank you guys for joining us.
Hey everyone, my name is Michelle Jackson. I have a toothache, which is why I sound funny. Whatever. I run a couple different projects, but for today, I'm talking about creators getting paid, where I interview amazing creators who are building financially sustainable brands. I love to talk about how you dream, design, and build your monetized projects. And I love to interview Black and Brown and a few allies, creators who are doing really cool things. I'm also rebooting my Your American Money personal finance brand that will be beginning again in September. What about you, Corey?
Hi, my name is Corey Gums. I'm the founder of the Black Podcasters Association. Also, I run Black Pod News, which is a newsletter here right here on Substack. It's an industry trade paper for the Black side of the podcast industry. I'm also a board member of Air Media, and I wear a couple other co-founder of Press Record Studios out in Westbury, New York. That's Long Island, and yeah, that's what I do. I'm a community builder and a podcast producer.
All right, guys. So typically, when we do we're talking, because that is the name of our live stream, we're typically talking about business. We're talking about all kinds of topics related to podcasting, online brand building, that kind of thing. But you know what? It's the heart of summer. And Corey is running a huge event this week. It's my birthday week. And again, it's hot. I have this hand fan. And we were like, you know what? Let's do something a little more lighthearted. It can't always be work, 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 right? Like we have to have some brevity and some lightness. And this week we're going to talk about pop culture. And I think it's going to be fun because we're going to geek out about some different topics that we are into. But we're going to first talk about pop culture related to business, like our first topic each one of us is going to share. And then we're going to get into it. If there are topics that you guys would like to talk about, feel free to drop them in the chat. We love it when you guys talk to us. And yeah, so today's going to be fun. Thank you, Lucy. I'm going to go to a free tequila and food tasting that I was randomly invited to. Yes. And no,
That's a
this is
fun time.
and listen. on Saturday, I'm invited to a huge event called the 5280 Table because Denver is a mile high. So there's going to be 5,280 people at a long, 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 long table. We get a free meal, like it's a free lunch, and we get to be in community with one another. So that's this week. But anyway, whatever. Corey, what is your pop culture and business topic that you want to discuss?
Before we get
Put
to
you on the spot.
because we're talking pop culture, I mean, we gotta give an RIP to two big pop culture icons that
Oh God.
passed away. So I wanted to shout that out real quick. You know, Theo, Malcolm Jamal Warner,
Theo.
he passed away, and then today Ozzy Osbourne. So I just want to throw that business wise. I'm not really a pop culture person, so it's kind of like interesting. Like I got brought into this conversation because it's been racking my brain since you told me about it. Like I was like, I don't know what I want to talk about. And business wise,
You're a DJ though, so you're
I'm gonna,
totally into pop culture.
yeah, but
Music is
I'm
pop
more,
culture.
but I'm more like I would be a punk rocker or something. Like I'm more anti pop culture.
Whatever. Okay, so what's your topic?
I don't know. But you put me on the spot with the business.
I know.
Um,
Yes.
I guess pop culture. He's not a very popular person. I guess it would be with business. Steve Jobs. Like somebody who
Mm.
I study and I listen to. I don't always agree with him, but his story of what he built and the fall and the rise and how he's impacted.
Isn't he dead?
Yeah, he's been there for a
Okay,
while.
I'm just making sure.
The whole Apple pop culture thing because
Okay.
Apple embraced pop culture to help build its
Yeah.
brand. So, yeah, he died early a couple hours ago. The reports came out. Stephanie.
Oh my
So yeah. So I guess that would be my thing.
So
What do
here's
you
my
think
question.
Apple what is your favorite Apple product, though, before we get into that?
Okay.
Let's go. I would say my MacBook Pro, man. I've written this thing into the ground and back. I've taken it to the depths of whatever hell it could go into, whether it's through a coding project, a music project, or video project. Especially this one I have right now, it's just been performing it's been performing at top level with one minor hiccup that but thank God for Apple Care. But it would be that. My favorite product would be that. I don't know if they have it at all the Apple stores, but the model, the Mac desktop that costs like 15 grand.
Yeah.
That'll probably be my favorite one. It's like I've tested it out and it just like flies. So that'll probably be mine. And that's one of my goals is to get that just to brag and say I did it. Some rappers and people want to get diamond chains and stuff. I want to get my computer.
That's fair.
Okay, so I have a couple of comments about Steve Jobs and Apple. So first of all, I'm low-key still really pissed off that the iPod is gone. I don't want to have my phone with me all the time. I just want to listen to music. I want to have a place where I've curated a music list that isn't I like Spotify, but there was something different about my iPod. I miss it. I wish they would bring that freaking thing back. And low key kind of salty still about this. I think it's a huge mistake that they're forcing people to use the phone. Like they're trying to tether us to the phone, and I don't want to use your phone. I want to use your iPod. The other thing is, I wonder if the products are at a point where they're too expensive, and maybe that they've kind of capped their growth, at least in the US, right? Like people who have an iPhone have it already. People have a Mac like I do, they have it already. And now I don't want to get too deep into this, but our economy is doing what it's doing. So I don't know if they're going to be able to really expand their audience here. So how are they going to continue to grow that Apple ecosystem? What are your thoughts?
I mean, they do it already. They force you into it, right? After a couple of years, the OS doesn't operate on the old machines anymore, so you have to upgrade at some point. And then on your phone, what did they do? They were they were slowing phones down. So I think they have that plan figured out. I think they have that figured
But
out.
it's the same audience member. No, but that's the same client. I'm saying adding new clients.
Can I jump in here real quick?
Yeah.
Yes.
So Casey Neistat recently made a video called Planned Obsolescence, which is where he talks about how cell phone companies basically they plan for you to only have them for a certain amount of time. And he's like kind of sort of working on, yeah, planned obsolescence and working with a company that's like bringing back old technology with like new hardware. So I'm really hoping, like keeping my fingers crossed that they do that with some iPods and like recreate that in a really cool way to give us that tactical experience. The other thing I will say is like not only Apple has always been like this pinnacle of innovation, but I do think, and Casey Neistat is also an investor in this company, Nothing is really about to start chipping away at that. I want a Nothing phone
Yes.
so bad. Like it's not even funny how much I want a Nothing phone. And I feel like companies like that are continuing to innovate. They also haven't made a foldable. Like a lot of other companies, like Google, Samsung, they've all made a foldable. Apple has not gotten into that yet. I could see that being a next step. But the foldables are very expensive. They're way more expensive than a regular phone. So it would still, again, be hard in this economy, but that's a new way to get in front of a new audience. But yeah, those two things, I think they are facing an uphill battle, like Michelle said. Like I don't know how they're gonna fix it. I don't think they're gonna bring the iPod back. I do hope new companies do, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Apple. They
No,
gotta ride on these M1 chips because the MacBook Pro chips, I'm a
I
core.
just
Them things
I,
bang.
I just want you guys to know that, and it's something I've talked about like with the movie industry is they don't care
Mm.
about us anymore. We're too old. They're focusing on my kids' generation and my
Yeah, but
future
do those
grandkids'
kids have
generation.
money?
They will
No.
have money. They will have the money for it.
Will
Yeah, they
they?
will.
Their
Yeah, they
parents will
will.
have the money for it.
No, they'll have to just like I have this. Just like eventually, I had the money to get me a Mac. I couldn't afford it when I was younger. It's going to happen. It's about the brand loyal. It's about getting people attached to brands, not worrying about whether they have the money or not.
I'm
And
not loyal anymore.
yeah, but
I
that's you.
like
But they're not worried. But
this.
they're
No,
not worried.
this year I have broken up with so many companies.
But,
I'm like, bye.
but Michelle,
You know that
they don't
meme with
care.
the,
They don't care
you know that
about.
meme with the lighter and the fire? That's me. Like, I'm just done. I'm done with everybody. I'm over
See,
it.
and for me, the problem is, and I'm gonna die on this hill, and I'm not gonna say act like I'm a tech whiz and all that stuff. But the problem is like Windows didn't do anything to up to improve their product. It's very still hackable, still suffers
Mhm.
a lot of security issues. It's an open system where that's what one thing that works for Apple is a closed system. So it's harder. I'm
Mhm.
not gonna say it's not hackable, it's harder to hack. That's why when people be like, "Oh, they got my," you're a liar. You put that stuff out there because it's not that simple. Or you using the same data, you're using the same password across different platforms, and one of those platforms got hacked, and that's how they got into your account. But um, I personally think like a lot of companies aren't worried about our generation anymore. If you're over 35 years old, they're not worried about you. They already got you. They either got you or they don't, right? And they know that it's just like a podcasting, right? We say you can't convert a non-podcast listener to a listener. That's harder. So who do you go after? You go after the people that are listening already, that are already understand the value of podcast. Now, yeah, you want to if you have the money to market hardcore to turn non-listeners into listeners, that's cool. But I think that's where you're talking about like the cap. There is a cap to that. But like like I was looking at like what Marvel I'm gonna just bring Marvel into the conversation because they get a
That's
lot of
pop culture.
backlash. Yeah, I know, but they get a lot of backlash for the type of content they've been putting out lately. But I'm looking at
Uh-huh.
the content and my friend reminded me, my son was when I took him to see Iron Man, he's gonna be 26. When I took him to
Mhm.
see Iron Man, he was like 8 years old. So that whole MCU run was for him, and it was the nostalgia part was for me to take my kids to go see it, and then they built the
Mhm.
audience, and now my son's at an age where well, knock on wood that he doesn't start, but he should start having kids, and the shows are made for that younger teenage going into adulthood generation. It's every 20 years. That's why companies rebrand all the time, right? That's why you see McDonald's always changing. So I think Mac I don't they may have a plan, but at some point the technology is gonna cap no matter what. Like, that's why you see a lot of companies putting a lot of money into the quantum computer space because at some point it's like okay, the products get smaller, the motherboards, all the technology, all that stuff gets smaller, it runs faster, but there's only but so much you can do to a certain degree. Um, we're seeing that with AI with the power that it uses, right? They're gonna have to figure out how to mitigate the whole water consumption, the power portion, in order to make this a long-term viable plan. So I think with Apple, they're gonna figure it out. But they have such a big
I
market share, and they don't, I mean, some of
want
it
to
is
push
too. I
back on
think part
something
of
you
it is
said.
arrogance of being the top dog, right? It's like,
I want to push it, but I want to push back on what you're saying here for a second. So one thing I think that Apple is benefiting from is the nostalgia. I think parents are getting iPhones for their kids because they have had a good experience with Apple and iPhone products. So I think to say that like companies, especially established companies like Apple, are only marketing to the younger generation is not true. Somebody has to buy them. And the parents have to
Mhm.
already be bought into the Apple ecosystem
no,
in order
I,
for them
I
to
agree
see the
with you on
benefit
that.
of getting it for their kid. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, they're going to be like, I don't care that you like Apple. Do you have iPhone money? No, you're getting this Android, babes. That's what you're getting. You know what I'm saying? So, like, so I think
Yeah,
nostalgia plays a big part in it, though.
but
And
it's
if you've seen
also
like on YouTube, have you seen some of the people who are like using these 3D printers to make like makeshift, like the old school big iMacs and like putting their iPod in or putting their Mac Mini in as a screen to like
Oh,
make that bag?
yeah, but that's
no.
hobbyist. That's hobbyist. That's not a market that's going to be like a mass market product. That's a lot of time though,
No,
especially.
but it is again people who are really championing the nostalgia of Apple products and the tactile function that they used to provide that are getting
Well, I
more
mean,
new audiences ingrained or like even thinking about Apple and like
I
spending
agree with
time
you.
with the brand. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because I was very vocal about the Superman money. I said movie. I said that nostalgia is killing the comic book industry. Nostalgia
Mm-mm.
is killing everything. So it's like why people still want their iPods. Because I'm like, your phone is an iPod. I
No,
don't
it's
understand why
not
you.
killing everything. It's
It is killing
reviving
it.
industries. Reviving industries. Records. Records are a good example of this, where you cannot duplicate the experience of listening to a record. You buy a
I,
record, you hear the scratchy. No, no, but what I'm saying is it's a whole experience, right?
but
You
here's where
hear
the
the
nostalgia.
scratch of putting the needle on the record, the type of record player that you buy. The vinyl that's printed out, like talking to people about these things. Um, Now Stephanie went dark. Okay, serial killer movies.
But
I
Michelle,
concur.
you see, okay, I'm glad you brought up the record part because this is the part where I say it's killing it, right?
Oh,
As you could tell, I have a very vast collection of records behind me.
thank you,
As
Michelle.
somebody as somebody who invests a lot of money into their record collection over the course of their life, this is why I say the nostalgia. I just went into a record store that opened up in Brooklyn and I walked by the other day, right?
Mhm.
And they, of course, they're promoting like Tribe Called Quest records. They had them. So that's what caught my eye when I walked by. I looked and I was like, oh, I go in there and you're asking for $40, $50 for a record that used to cost $10. That technically, if I go to a mom and pop store, I could still get for $5, $10. So that's why I say it's killing it because a lot of the nostalgia is for only a certain audience that can afford it.
Yeah.
And so it's not so yes, there is a new industry that's going in that's being created, but it's more of a high end type of client that can afford that nostalgia.
Yeah. The Casey
At least,
Neistat.
at least here in New York City. I can't speak for all places, but when I see it here in New York City, it's always expensive
Yeah.
in order to enjoy it.
Yeah. The company
You
that
know
Casey
what?
Neistat is working for, they're selling like the little Game Boy things for like $250 when they're like $50 everywhere else.
I mean, we see that with the Jordans, right? The retro Jordans. It's ridiculous how much. I never understood that business. To the point where it created a whole new industry of reselling sneakers and stuff. But when they first started
Uh,
releasing those new Jordans, I was like, and seeing my friends, I was like, yo, bro, you paid $100 for those when it first came out. Now you're willing to pay $300, $400, $500 for a pair of
this is all pop
reissued
culture,
Jordans?
by the way.
I know,
Everything we talked about is pop culture.
but now you see why
Okay,
I say
just
I'm
want to throw
anti
that out
pop
there.
culture because it doesn't make
You're
sense to
not
me.
anti pop culture
I
because you
am.
are completely dialed in. Oh my God. You and them Jordans. Okay, here's the thing. One, New York is expensive, and that's part of the reason why you're experiencing those prices. We have
But it
so
sets the
many
tone,
record.
though. It sets the
Nah.
tone for everybody else.
I go to record. Like we have events just specific to purchasing records, like massive events. They're not as expensive as what you're talking about.
There's some
So I
places
do.
that match those prices. So I don't think it's just a New York
Yeah.
thing. And then if you see the pre-orders don't get 45, 50, but for vinyl they do get like $30. I think
No,
$30.
Which is
I'm
crazy.
talking used, not
No, the used
not
market is
reprint.
different. The used market is different. But even in
Yeah,
the
used
used
is
market, I'm
different.
starting to see the prices creep up. But I'm like, hold up, bro. Like
Oh,
you ODing right now. Like I went to an event here in Brooklyn where they were reselling records and they wanted the same price for brand new ones that come
oh,
factory sealed. They wanted like $30, $40. And I'm like, oh, this
oh.
is one of them I was tempted to buy, but I was like, I refuse to do that because I know I could find it cheaper. But
But I don't think
it's the
everybody is like
audacity
you,
for me.
right?
It's the audacity for me. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying?
By the way, there is
And
a
it's
really
not like
cool
I can put it on
product.
a record player and it's not scratched. And I'm like, bro, if I put $40 for a used record and it's not,
Oh,
you could put it in front of the light, you could do all the little tests that you do, but once you put it on that needle, sometimes you don't know that how good it is till you put it on the needle. So it's like, I'd be really mad about that.
by the way, Angela, you were talking about that phone that sounded really cool. There's a product called Remarkable that I've been
Yeah.
eyeing for the last couple of years, and I'm just like, oh, I might want to buy that. So, anywho,
Sign up for
Angela,
their
what?
newsletter. Sign up for their
Oh,
newsletter. They gon' go on sale a couple of times. I ended up
oh,
getting so I have a
okay.
Samsung phone, and I ended up getting a Samsung tablet because
Ooh,
the tablet came with the S Pen. I got it on sale. It came with the S Pen, and it allows me to
okay.
like basically write to text in Obsidian, which is my note-taking app. So that's how I keep like my notes synced across devices. So that's an alternative to Remarkable, and it is cheaper if you're on Android or Samsung or
Okay.
whatever.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
I love that, and I'm going to be on their newsletter. So Angela, what about you? What's your pop culture business hybrid topic that you're bringing to the table today?
I don't know. I really do like nothing, and I like this concept of like calm tech that's coming in right now.
Oh,
'Cause I think people
oh,
are like stressed the fuck out, and they're like tired of having every notification humanly available on their wrist or on their phone.
Yeah.
And I think like on some level, I appreciate a closed ecosystem that is Apple or even Samsung, and I'm sure Microsoft maybe does as well. But I think like because of that, when you have companies like Nothing or Oppo or whatever new phone company comes in, they have to try to compete with a closed ecosystem. So they have to do one product at a time before they can build out an ecosystem that is comparable for people to buy into. Which makes
mm,
it really hard for us to like get new people in because how does a company out of like, what is it, London, compete with like an Apple, compete with a Samsung that have like huge, huge shares of not just the American market, but like the global market and in terms of sourcing materials and things like that when you're just a startup essentially. Turn them off though. Why need a whole new device? Folks are getting, okay, that's cute, but like when you're running a business, there's only so much turning off you can do. And I think even when you have them
Yeah.
on, like I've tried it all, and like honestly, the only thing that I've really come up with is that putting my phone on do not disturb 99% of the time, getting rid of like all of my social media notifications, and then using the email app that I use to like organize my emails. It's the only way that I can live. There's no way I can be 100% off as a filmmaker or as a digital creator. It just doesn't work. And I think too, in terms of like, why would somebody get a new device? I think part of it is like, how can I create an experience for myself to be more efficient with my workflow? Like for
mm,
me and Corey and probably Michelle as well, like we need high powered MacBook. I need to be able to edit videos on the go and edit photos on the go. That's not negotiable for me. Um, and then in terms of writing, I do have a pen and paper process that I use, but eventually this has to go in my notes app. It has to go in my newsletter. Like it has to get transferred some kind of way. And like, what's the best way for me to get organized? So I think there's an organizational component to it. I think there is a workflow component to it. And I do think there is just a performance aspect to it. Yeah, I could get the next cheapest Remarkable or whatever, but Remarkable is a closed ecosystem, right? You have to buy into the Remarkable cloud. You have to eventually get on your laptop and be able to transfer those docs somewhere else that you can use them. So there's pros and cons to investing in an ecosystem. And I think you just have to understand what those are for you, for sure. But that's just I'm not like pro phone or anything like that, but I am like pro buy what you need to do the job that you need. So,
But
Right. I
I
agree.
think it's an interesting topic because there's also a lot of people who are divesting themselves off of social media in particular. So there is a creator that I had a wonderful conversation with for my website, Amelia Herbie, who runs Off the Grid. And she basically is completely divested off of social media. She's really just moved off of all these different platforms. And so it's just changed like how her tech interactions are. And it's really interesting to hear what her guests talk about in terms of how they like just little things like scrolling, how they're used to scrolling the feed, right? And how they had to like wean themselves from scrolling the feeds and as they took themselves off of social media. It's a really interesting, I think, growing subset of people. I've met a couple of people in the last couple of weeks who have regular flip phones. And interestingly, they were young. They were like older Gen Z. And they were just like, that's all we need. We don't need anything else. So I do think that there's something to this. How big that becomes as a movement, I don't know. I do think it helps that it's inexpensive, right? You're not getting as many ads. Your devices are cheaper because there's no bells and whistles, and so there might be some like uh, interest in that just from a financial perspective.
I want to
So.
answer this above question. It says, folks be stressing themselves for nothing. You can't have an hours of operation of when you reply and answer to emails and social media. I've tried it. It doesn't work for me. I also need to heavily caveat this and say that I'm a night owl. So, the hours of operation thing, the routine, I think that's real cute for normal people. I don't think I fall in that category. I do have like, they're laughing.
I'm
But
laughing because I'm the same way. Like,
yeah,
I don't
it's
have
like I
conventional
think
hours.
for social media, I feel no pressure in terms of responses. DMs, I do try to reply to DMs in like a timely manner, especially for people who are like reaching out to me for the first time. And then for emails, I just try to reply within 48 hours. That's like my personal thing. I used to be the person who's like, oh, I need a reply. It's just not sustainable. I can't. Like, you know what I'm saying? When I'm working, when I'm writing, when I'm out and about, like I just can't be tied to my phone. So I just try to reply within 48 hours, and that seems to be working. Nobody has complained. So
And I don't
uh,
respond over the weekend either anymore. No way. So, I mean, we're designing how the boundaries around how we run our businesses and protect our space. And so I too refuse to reply over the weekend. I'm like, you guys need to be out in the streets doing something. You don't need to be like waiting for me to email you.
yeah.
So
So
yeah.
like,
I mean,
so
I do schedule
my
it, but I mean, in terms of responding, like I do, sorry, I'm reading her comment. It says schedule the
uh,
email. That's what I do anyway. Or F it. If they see a 3 a.m. email, let that be fine. I will occasionally slip up and send at 3 a.m., but for the most part, I do schedule. But even still, like, again, when it comes to responding, it's not like I'm responding every day between like 8 and 10:30 or something to emails. It's just like whenever I get around to it, schedule it for 8 a.m. if it's after business hours and non-urgent.
Mhm.
Keep moving. Sorry,
I'm
I
I
just
had to
gonna give
always
me an
schedule
assistant. I'm just gonna give
I
me an
always
assistant
schedule mine.
because see, I wish I could be like y'all because the way my
No.
ADHD is set up, you get the email when you get the email. It might be 2 weeks from now. It might be 3 o'clock in the morning. If I'm not distracted and I see it, I'm like, it's gonna
Yeah.
happen. That's just the way it goes for me. Like, so, and I've tried to figure out organized ways. It just doesn't work for me. So it's like I just do it when I need to do it, how I need to do it. I did.
I
So
might
one
be
of the things I
doing
did
it
turn off
when I
is
go
turn
ahead.
off all my notifications, which is a problem too because
Mhm.
like Slack and so sometimes people will text me, Corey, check your Slack because they know I don't, I tell them I don't get the notifications. So unless I
Mm.
consciously say to myself, go check Slack or go check this app, I might not even notice something sitting there that I need to be a part of a conversation. So for me, it's either one extreme or the other. I haven't figured out the middle ground for me.
Mm.
I It could be that on a like a deep focus work day, maybe I'm working late and I'm responding to things, but I'll always schedule it because I don't want anyone to get the idea that I'm always available because I'm not. And when I used to work my old job, it was
Yeah.
they took me for granted. They took advantage of me, and I was always available, and that was shame on me and shame on them. So within this context of what I'm doing now, I'm like very firm with the boundaries, not because of anything that my community does. They're wonderful, to be honest. So the people in my community are wonderful. They typically are not emailing me at random times, actually. They're very, very respectful, but it could be maybe someone who's new to me. Maybe I don't know, like, what's going on,
Yeah.
but if they're like, Michelle always schedules meetings at after 10 Mountain Time, not 10 Eastern Time, which is 8 o'clock my time, then they understand that's a boundary. And if I don't like communicate that both in verbal and nonverbal ways, that's on me when I'm the boss of how I run the things that I'm doing right now for myself, you
I
know?
think what you just said about like if you respond after hours, people assume that you're available to talk at that time. I think on the flip side, I stopped sending because I don't want people to feel responsible to respond
That
to
too.
me the time. You know what I mean? Like I don't want anybody to ever feel like, oh, if she's emailing me after 6, that means I have to email. Like you don't at all. Like
Mhm.
keep it business hours if that's what works for you. And I just try to respect that because again, too, like with a lot of as a freelancer, the clients that I'm talking to, they work at 8 to like they're not, around the clock the way I'm around the clock, whatever works best for me that day in terms of work. So I try to be respectful of them too.
I just know I'm blessed with my community that I get random text messages of Corey go to bed or Corey go home. I like 3 in the morning, 4, or like, the running joke in the BPA is that, like, especially when I first started, it was like when I go to bed at night, you're on here. When I go to wake up in the morning, you're on here. And that,
Yep.
and for me, it was I was already like, no, whether I was doing this or not, my sleep, like, I'm always up. So it's
Yeah.
just be like, well, since I'm up, I might as well go do some work. Instead of vegging out watching TV or playing video games and stuff. So that's how I was. But I have the opposite. I have a community that actually cares and be like, Corey, take your butt to bed. We need
Yeah.
you to be able to function. So like, so I do, especially on the weekends, I'll get those text messages and it'll be like, and I'll be like, all right, I'm
Good.
going home. All right, my
Good.
bad.
Shoot.
That's funny.
Um,
It
I
is,
think
right?
that's wonderful. It's
What
funny, but
about you,
it's wonderful.
Michelle?
Okay, so um, the topic that I decided to bring to beginning of this conversation is around AI. And a friend of mine, uh, we met for coffee, and somehow this AI generated character came up. Like I was unfamiliar with it, and I didn't even. I looked and immediately I was like, I hate this. So I want to show you what it is, and hopefully you can hear the audio as well. I'll share just very briefly what it is, and then we're going to talk about it. So I'm going to start it now.
Oh.
Wait, wait. Shh. Okay, so this is Kim the gorilla, and I hate Kim. Okay, and it's funny because I had a very visceral reaction, like immediately. And it's funny because I can see why people find Kim funny. But I have some issues with Kim, partly because Kim's on TikTok. And TikTok is known for racially inflammatory, in my view, in my personal opinion, racially inflammatory content, for suppressing content of people of color, specifically Black people across the diaspora. And I think it's really interesting that this gorilla, which for me and a lot of these things are often coded for Black people in a disparaging way, is now making all this money with this video has, I think, 5 million views or something like this. And I am really watching with curiosity, concern, interest, all the things, the way that like digital blackface is going to appear, a lot of just how people are opting to design things with with different imagery in mind. And I'm going to give another example. The other day I was on Threads and this guy apparently was like, "Black ladies, if you could share a photo with a really pretty orange shirt or something like in orange, show us how you look good in orange." And so all these black ladies did this. And then he created this like stereotypical, like really bad video using all of this imagery. Somehow he like spliced it together or whatever. And so nowadays, because I'm side-eyeing all these people, um, I'm just like, I don't know that I shut these things down really fast, but I feel like as much as I hate all this stuff, it just crops up. And I don't know that people have the media, how do I even wanna say this? I don't know if people get
Media
pissed off as
literacy.
fast as I it's not even that. I don't know that they get pissed off as fast as I do and clock these things for what they really are. And so that is what I brought to today's table. Kim the gorilla.
Which is interesting. You got the Kim the Gorilla because there's a male version of it, and when he first came out,
Really?
he was using black slang and all that stuff, and I saw that, and I was like, "Oh, this is a problem." I could tell you from my network of friends and stuff, I've seen. You think that's bad? This
Oh
one
god.
with black women driving all Nissan Altimas, the stereotype about Altimas in the hood.
Have you seen the black girls doing the
I've seen some
mukbang?
real crazy ones. I've
The
seen some
what?
real crazy ones.
There's like
Wait, what was that?
black people are creating like black women doing like get ready with me's and then black women doing like mukbangs where they'll like eat in front of the camera and like talk to you. And they're like not real black women at all. It's very terrifying actually.
Yeah, but there's some really good ones though
Michelle,
too, though.
no, but I don't like any of it. Like I just nowadays you know like I joke about this, but it's not a joke. I've just watched too much dystopian futuristic content. I've read too many books. I've read too many books, okay? And it's just with the people that we have in in power now, I can't laugh about it anymore. I just can't. And so it just has stopped being funny to me because I imagine what these other people would want to do with it because they grew up watching the same shit that I grew up with. And that's why I'm concerned. And I just can't I'm not blasé about it anymore. I'm like very worried. To Michelle's point, she's like, we do have to watch out about what we're putting into AI learning. And I think she's right. I am very careful with AI. I'm trying to I like that, Michelle. She's saying flip it and make gorillas with white male entitlement. That would be that would be entertaining. But I'm very concerned because it's just to the point where it's very difficult to tell, to your point earlier, Corey, what's real and what's not. And so
Right.
I'm already having to navigate conversations with older relatives about you need to question what you're watching. So when you come to me, you're like, why is it that black men and black women are always arguing about blah, blah, blah? I'm like, you've heard of bots, right? This may not really be an argument. It could be that this is some fake bullshit that is being generated from some other location because it generates revenue on the platform. So I'm just so cynical about a lot of like the motivations around a lot of this content, partly because of the monetization model, right? Like
Can
I'm
I jump in
surprised.
here?
Go for it.
So YouTube has addressed that they will not monetize channels that use AI or low effort channels. So like your faceless YouTube channels are about to take a hit. People that are
Mhm.
using this gorilla that want to make the switch from TikTok to YouTube because they all do after they reach a certain point because the monetization model on YouTube is just much better. Um, and much more sustainable. So they can start this crap on TikTok, but it's never gonna make it past like YouTube.
You
The
know what's interesting about that point? It's funny that when we started seeing these videos started really rolling out when Google announced that new video AI, and then all of a sudden these videos started coming out, and then they turn around and say, well, on our video platform, we're not gonna monetize it. So I was like, um, I agree with you, Michelle, on it because it does bother me. Some of these videos are just outright just nuts. I've seen some really bad ones with like slavery and all
Mm.
kind of stuff. Um, and it is dangerous. But on the flip side, there's this channel that I watch and I subscribe to on Instagram that's funny. It's really great actually. They took the stormtroopers from Star Wars and they actually
Okay.
have like they made characters out of them and they're going through all these different ordeals and stuff and it's just it's making fun of the whole stormtrooper experience, you know, characters in Star Wars. So that's the flip side. But I think one of the scariest things for me with the AI stuff, not just the racial stuff, but I'm starting to see more better ads and products being sold using AI. Some of them are really like you could tell like this is just wild. But when I go open I look at those posts and I read the comment section. Now I don't know if those are bots or not, but I'm like, oh, the term "sucker born every minute" is like starting to really become true, ring true because of the AI commercials. And I'm starting to notice like a lot more ads are starting to get better at it. Like I don't know if the
Mm.
technology of the models are learning better and people are getting better with their prompts and how they're doing it. But some of them are, I mean, I was looking at one yesterday and I was like, I had to watch it a couple of times because I was like, okay, her lips are not in sync. So
Whoa.
that was the tell sign for me. That
Yeah.
was the sign. I was like, okay, it's not looking natural.
By the way, the Star Wars fandom is the worst fandom. Just gonna throw that out there.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry,
I'll hide
Star Wars
this. I'm
people.
hide
Not
this. I'm
sorry.
hide
Not
this.
sorry.
Oh, they're worse. They're terrible.
They're the worst.
With comic books are real close behind them.
Oof, man.
Um,
I just got back from Fan Expo Denver, which was really a couple of weeks ago, which was a lot of fun. But it was weird because the cosplay was not as like in the last couple of years, the cosplay at that event, you can tell that the economy isn't doing good because people are like, well, we're just gonna draw something on our face.
Yeah, that cosplay market is that's I have friends who did it, and I was just like, that's not cheap. I didn't realize how
But
expensive it is.
but it was a little concerning because there were furries, and I'm like, bro, it's too hot to be a furry. Okay, it's July. That's a fall activity. It's a fall winter activity. Do whatever you want, but it's too hot for that. Stink. So there you go.
So the AI part though, that's it is you know, and you know, like the whole thing with Timbaland, what he caught with the AI
Oh,
stuff, where he was taking other people's music and basically feeding it, which was crazy to me as for somebody in music, especially seeing older people in the music industry saying they got suckered into it. Cause I'm like,
mm.
bro, like you're 40 years old. If you don't know about 360 deals in the music industry in that respect, then you deserved everything you got by doing that. Because at some point, I'm like, you know, I'm still tripping over the fact that 360 deals are still they still exist in the 2025 when I was doing this 20 years ago and they were around and everybody was complaining about it then. So it's just like, you know, but it for somebody like me, and I get like the musicians and stuff, they're concerned about it. But when you listen to it, you can still tell like, and that's why I say a lot of this stuff is made for the younger generation because they don't care. Like I have conversations like with the young kids about hip hop and stuff, and when a young kid tells me they don't care about lyrics, they just care about the melody of a song. I'm like, there's nothing I could say to you. There's nothing I could do
Ah,
about that. And so if AI is is really mastering that. That's where the music industry is going to go towards because those are the people who are going to the concerts and buying the music a lot of
no,
time. Well,
I'm gonna
no, they're doing
I'm
the
gonna
streaming.
totally
They're doing the streaming.
no, no, no. I'm gonna totally reject this premise and say something. So one of the coolest things that I have been experiencing, weirdly enough, on Threads is all of a sudden the feed is sharing all these incredible artists that you would least expect in the type of music that they're producing. So like black alt rock, black punk rockers,
You mean
black
punk rock?
people in well, yeah, I mean, um, black country, like all of,
Oh,
or
you mean
country,
country music?
yeah. So, but I've been you're not wrong, but I've been continuously fed all these really cool people doing amazing, amazing music, like creating amazing music. And I think there is like you can only do so much with AI or tech generated music. It's always going to end up eventually sounding the same. It's
Right.
different when you have someone in front of you and you're like invested in their experience, their story. In fact, wasn't there a band that they discovered was AI like a couple of weeks ago? Let me
Spotify, yeah,
figure that.
It was
Um,
Spotify.
Okay.
what do
Yeah.
let
They
me
they didn't
figure
even
out the
exist.
name of the band.
I
Wait,
forgot I
band
can't think of
that
it right now, but
was
yeah.
yeah. Let me figure it out. It was
But I
the
think
Velvet Sundown.
my position is that the youth don't care.
I Why are we talking
That's
about
the
the youth
part.
so much?
Because that's the future.
What are you, 900?
No, that's the
You,
future. This is that no, what do you
yes, Tanya. I just,
that's the
but
future.
I'm
Those are the
talking
people that's
now,
that
okay? But I'm talking now. Like I still have a lot of years of music listening in me, okay?
I'm
As do everyone watching this. So yes, to your point that young people currently are checked on out on this, but you forget if they're blessed, they become older. And what they want and what they'll want later will definitely change. That happened with all of us, right? So are they currently un like disinterested in anything else? Yes. Will they change and grow as human beings? Yes.
that's
And
yet
it'll
to
be
be
interesting to
experienced.
see
In
it. Oh
regards to
my
how
God.
no, it is yet because 20 years from now, is music going to be? I always use my experience with hip hop. Right when I was growing up,
Uh,
when I grew up in the golden age of hip hop, it wasn't supposed to last. It was
no.
supposed to fade. It was a fad. It was supposed to fade out. It wasn't supposed to, and I was a part of it. That's what I'm saying. Like I look at it because I was there for some of those key moments. But
Mhm.
my thing is like I remember that. I remember my mom, my grandparents. I joke around and I say like, "Oh, I'm my parents now," because I look at the music and I'm like, right. But I do talk to a lot of I talk to a lot of these kids, my son's generation and younger. My daughter, I watch my daughter and her listening habits and the groups that she likes, and I'm like,
Mhm.
and I look at I have 3 children. My oldest got the biggest experience for me because he's the one that's more well rounded with the music because I clearly he grew up around it
Mhm.
from he grew up through the whole iPod to the iPhone. So when I was making my cassette tape CDs in the car and stuff, and I'm listening to my music, and then he decided what music he wanted to get into based off of the influence. My daughter doesn't have that influence because she doesn't live with me, and she listens whatever her mom and this is no knock on her mom. I'm just saying whatever goes on in that house and how they do it. And when I was hanging out with my daughter on July 4th weekend and I was driving around and she's picking her music and I'm listening to it, I'm like, it's the same thing over. And then she went from Taylor Swift to this new group and she's going all over the place. And I'm like, and I try to expose her to some stuff, and she's like, "I don't wanna hear this. I don't wanna." And I get it. Your music tastes as you change, as you mature and stuff, and there is gonna come a point where the pendulum's gonna swing back the other way because we see that going on YouTube with the whole first listening stuff, right? Like seeing these 25-year-olds listening to Nas Illmatic or a song for the first time. But I think sometimes we get so stuck in how we do it that we're not listening to the youth. Because like the Kendrick Lamar and the Drake thing, and then the clips coming out is a clear indicator of how the
I
youth
was
listen to
hoping you'd
music.
bring up clips.
Yeah.
Because I've seen a lot of people. I see, and I look at how people talk about certain rappers now, like the youth, like I'm using the Nas Jim Jones beef, right? I'm reading, I'm looking at posts, and I'm looking at the discussions going on by the younger generation, and there's no way you could tell me Jim Jones ever will be better than Nas. I don't care. And I'm very critical of Nas in my own taste. I used to be a huge Nas fan, and I'm critical of old Nas, right? The new or current Nas, right? But when I hear CDU saying, I'm talking about how great Jim Jones is and his music, and when Jim Jones says, "Yo, I have a strong following with the youth," you got to listen to that because there's something about his music that's resonating with them that are making them take this stance of this crazy stance that he's one of the top greats in rap. You know,
I'm gonna
and
I'm gonna
and that's
shift.
why
I
I'm
want
listening to like Drake. The fact that Drake took no hit off the Kendrick Lamar, as much as everybody wants to say, the fact that he took no hit because his audience is the youth.
his
He knows it's
audience. First of all, his audience. I definitely think he took a hit, but I also think that like elevator music, you still listen to it, right? So if you want cozy elevator hip hop, soft pop, you're still going to listen to Drake. You are. And you're going to go, to Peloton and do your little workout with his music. But I did see a British show where they were talking smack about him. Like, real listeners of hip hop don't respect him. And they talked about the fact that he came across the pond to kind of, talk to them and like be buddies because they because they want our money, and we clocked that. So I just, I think we're kind of talking about several different different topics and how people get in front of music in particular. Am I on Peloton's approved list of music to listen to, as well as freaking Wegmans? Because remember, these people are selling their music to other places. It doesn't necessarily mean that true hip hop heads, to your point, are listening to his music. I definitely am not listening to Drake. Period. End of story. I will never listen to him again if I can help it. Likewise, I will never listen to Kanye again. And it's a shame, but I had to like cut that man go. I had to let him go.
Yes.
Ugh, God,
He was overrated anyway in my book, but yeah.
So we have lots of other topics we could talk
I
about.
just want to say something. Peloton rap. There's yacht rock, and then everybody heard it here first. When it starts happening, Peloton rap is going to be Michelle. We're going to make sure that Michelle gets credit for that because that was funny.
Thank you.
I just start using it.
Who has watched Ironheart or begun?
I started.
Okay.
I haven't started it yet. I don't have Disney Plus.
Okay. We will skip that then, but I will say I'm loving it. And if you're a fan of the city of Chicago, Chicago is definitely a character in the show. Absolutely, I want to say this.
So the first observation I made, because I haven't finished episode 1 because of just time, but the first thing I heard was the house music, and I thought that was great how they did that. The first piece of music is house music because Chicago, house music, and I thought that was great. I thought, I was like, okay, as we know with what's his name from Sinners, I can't think of his name right. Ryan, yes. Ryan, music is a big part of what he does especially Black culture and the influence in music after we saw with his Sinners. So I thought that was dope. So I was like, okay, I like this series already. And I'm not even a big house music fan, but I was like, the fact that you snuck that in there, as to set the tone, like you said, the character of Chicago, I was like, that was dope.
By the way, while I was thinking about it, because we're talking about Chicago, I want to shout out the coolest project ever. I never would have thought of this. Anna Deshawn, who runs The Cube, is putting together the coolest project. I didn't know you could do this. And basically, she's creating a record where different podcasters will be on this actual physical record, to the point I was making earlier. And they're fundraising now. I think it's $45 to get your record, a pre-sale. I'm shouting that project out. She's from Chicago. This is why it kind of like, but I also just think it's one of the coolest creative projects I've seen a creator do recently. So super cool. Something for you guys to think about. Please do support it, but awesome work.
So just so you know, Q Points is going to be doing something too, and it might have a couple of Corey exclusive beats on there too. So
okay.
Since we plug your related podcast records. But yeah, sorry, Angela.
Sorry, I want to jump in here on the vinyl that Anna Deshawn is doing. So she's partnering with Mars and Certified Crucial to get this done. Me and Mars are actually going to be live tomorrow evening to talk about merch for creators. And yes, I'm super excited about that. Also, AudioFlux does a version of this every year where they put together a theme and podcasters can submit audio to be considered for that, like kind of podcasters collection on vinyl. Also done by Certified Crucial. They auctioned off a vinyl at Resonate last year, and they do pre-sale. And I think they're going to do the same thing again this year at Resonate. They're going to bring back, I think maybe it's volume 2 or volume 3 of AudioFlux on vinyl at Resonate. So they'll be in Richmond. Check that out.
This is so cool. And And I've just pulled up that website because I definitely want to check that out.
Yeah.
All right. So, are there any? It's 7 o'clock my time, which is 9 o'clock your time, I think.
Yeah.
Are there any
Yeah.
other last minute topics, like one that we're like, let's slip this in before we like pop off? Anything else anything that you guys actually would like to cover before we thank you, Stephanie. Thank Tanya. Thank you for hanging out with us. We've been watching your shows. Is there a topic that you're like, why aren't you guys talking about this? Or we want you to know about this or consider it before we jump off. I'm scrolling through, by the way. Let's see if we got everything.
Did you see Superman yet?
No.
I haven't seen it yet, but people been wilding. They've been wilding, so I need to go see it. I don't know what's going on.
I am notoriously slow for seeing movies. I haven't seen Sinners yet. Okay.
What?
No. I'm gonna see. No one's spoiled it yet, so I'm gonna see it this weekend.
You were lucky because I was actually about to say something about Sinners when he mentioned Ryan
No.
Coogler.
You guys, my grandma passed away around that time, so it was not top of mind. So, but I'm gonna try and get it done this week. So I'm really, 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 really excited about it.
I'm gonna just Stephanie. The problem with vinyl is it's expensive, which is why it costs so much to do it. So the more people you get to purchase it, the more orders you get, the cheaper you can make the pricing. That's the problem with initially launching something on vinyl. So it's more of a, the way Anna's doing it. A lot of people do it. It's more of a collector's item, like what Flux is doing. It's more of a collector's item. So it's usually a limited press or limited run. So that's why that's kind of why you're having the pricing is kind of high. I think if Anna could do it cheaper, she probably would.
Yeah.
And also, you're not missing anything with Get Out, just so you know.
Y'all are following me right now. My God. Like, I need you to see Get Out. I need you to see Sinners. I need y'all to stop playing with my blood pressure. Why are y'all like this? Get it together. We don't have time for this as a culture. You're setting us back. Go see the movies.
Oh God. Oh my God.
Not that hard.
I'm paying. I'm gonna pay the $20 or whatever I'm gonna pay. I'm totally fine with it. It's gonna happen.
You're gonna see the IMAX?
Because I'm gonna stream it. I'm gonna stream it from home.
Stream it. Okay.
It's not in Sinners isn't in theaters anymore, I don't think. So you're gonna have to.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Is
was
there any
last week?
No, it's done, sadly. Our soccer team, our women's soccer team has a name.
Okay.
The Summit. I think it's the is it Summit Denver? Let's see if it comes up. So that's a thing. Denver Summit FC.
Okay.
Nice logo, by the way. But I think we are really needing to have a basketball team. So I think it's shocking.
Now in 2030, babes, but
all of the teams are all along the edge of the country. Nothing in the center except for Chicago. So
there's Atlanta, but that's it. There's nothing else in the south besides Atlanta. Maybe DC if you're being generous, but nothing else. So it's okay. We all are grieving WNBA teams. It's fine. We'll talk about it on tomorrow.
Anyway, someone's calling me, so now I can't hear anything.
All right.
That's not we'll see how this goes. But all I hear is the ringing of the phone. Let's see. Final presses here in Chicago. I think that's it. Hopefully the call will complete itself in a second.
Lord have mercy.
Let's. It's so annoying.
Do not disturb.
Very rarely does this happen. Wait a minute.
Yeah, indeed. I'll save you.
Wait. Let us introduce ourselves one more time. You know what? I'm gonna have to take this off because I hear. Are you back?
My name's Corey Gums. I'm the founder of Black Podcast.
Annoying. It popped me off of the headphones.
The Black Podcast Association, the Black Pod News, which is a newsletter that's here on Substack. I'm also a board member of Air Media, which is okay. So there we go. I was trying to like, she said, let's go through the intro while she figured out her tech issue. But I'm Corey Gums, founder of Black Podcast Association and founder of Black Pod News right here on Substack. So make sure you guys subscribe. It's the only trade paper dedicated to Black podcasters and professionals in the industry. Um, and I'll leave it on that.
All right, I'll go ahead and go. Michelle seems like she's almost ready. My name is Angela. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. 55 people on a Tuesday evening. Y'all are troopers. Thank you. I am the writer of two newsletters, Please Hustle Responsibly and Melanin MVP. You can find them here on Substack. And I'd love to have you in those communities if you're a creator, or if you're a fan of women's sports. Michelle, take us out.
Thank you for that, the patience with the slight tech issue. So my name is Michelle Jackson. I run Creators Getting Paid. I interview and have conversations with creators making money with their online brands. I also run Your American Money, which will be rebooted in September. So do keep an eye out on that. I talk about personal finance, policy, pop culture, and polarization. We do appreciate your help with attending these live streams. We will, starting in August, we'll be going back to our weekly cadence. We just agreed on that. So do keep an eye out for that. We've decided on Tuesdays. Occasionally, we will have guests because sometimes one of us has something else. So we will reach out to you guys, community members, to be like, hey, do you mind being a guest on such and such date? So just know that that will happen as well. We need your support to grow this conversation. Please share tonight's conversation. You see the share icon on the right hand of your phone at the bottom corner by the heart. If you could share that before we log off, that would be great. That helps to expand the reach of our show. Again, it's called Shh, We're Talking, because people always interrupt us. And please also sign up for the Substack that you feel meets the needs that you have currently. Not all of ours does, but maybe you're like, Angela's Substack is great for my friend so and so. Share it with your friend so and so. Likewise with ours. A rising tide and all that. So anyway, thank you guys so much. I think that's it.
Thank you
Thank you
guys.
guys.
Bye.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.